Picture this. You're out on the open ocean. You've got a massive cargo ship cutting through the waves, right? It's a multi-million-dollar operation basically suspended in a world of its own. But what happens when the waters get choppy? And I don't mean the weather. I mean a total breakdown in communication between the crew keeping that ship afloat and the owners back on shore. Well, welcome, focused learners, to this explainer. Today, we are shining a really bright cinematic spotlight on the high-stakes world of maritime labor disputes. We're going to decode the exact legal machinery that kicks into gear when things go wrong at sea. We're exploring a system that's designed to be swift, decisive, and honestly, incredibly empowering for the workers involved.
Okay, let's dive into this. Every great movie needs a mechanism for resolving conflict. And in the real world of maritime law, that script is written in Sections 88 and 89 of the Maritime Labor Rights Framework. See, when seafarers or their unions find themselves locked in a dispute with ship owners over employment conditions, they don't just drift aimlessly. There's actually a very specific, highly structured procedural that takes over. It's this specialized legal framework built entirely to handle the unique, isolated, and, let's be real, often complex nature of working on a vessel.
So, Section 1, Rights of the Captain. Let's look at the master's rights.
Before we get to the actual courtroom drama, we have to introduce the one at the helm, the master of the vessel. In maritime tradition, the captain holds ultimate authority, right? There's sort of this heroic figure responsible for everyone and everything on board. But when it comes to getting paid, the law makes a beautifully simple ironclad guarantee. The master has the exact same rights, liens, and remedies for the recovery of their wages as any other seafarer on that ship. The captain is protected just as fiercely as the deckhand, and it actually goes even further. Let's say the original master falls gravely ill, and someone else has to lawfully step into those big shoes. That stand-in gets those exact same protections for any disbursements or liabilities they properly incur while keeping the ship running. The chain of command is preserved, and the guarantee of fair compensation remains totally unbroken.
Moving right along to Section 2, the Maritime Tribunal, and how they go about adjudicating disputes. So, what happens when a dispute is a much wider clash between the crew and employers? Well, the central government steps in and appoints this specialized tribunal. And when this tribunal forms, it isn't just some mediator with a clipboard. I mean, it has teeth. Think of this like a fast-paced gearing up montage. Armed with the exact same formidable powers as a civil court, they can summon anyone on oath. They can compel document production that might otherwise stay hidden. They can receive evidence on affidavits and even issue commissions for witnesses globally. It is literally a powerful fact-finding machine designed to uncover the truth swiftly and absolutely.
Section 3, Rules of Engagement. Let's break down the tribunal procedures.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that while they have the powers of a civil court, their rules of engagement fundamentally change the game. The tribunal is explicitly not bound by the rigid, often slow-moving procedures laid down by the Code of Civil Procedure. Furthermore, they aren't tied down by the strict rules of evidence contained in the Bharatiya Sakshya Adhiniyam 2023. Instead, they get to regulate their own procedure, guided purely by the principles of natural justice. They just cut right through the red tape. It's all about getting straight to what is fair, right, and equitable, without getting bogged down in endless procedural technicalities.
And here is a massive twist to keep the proceedings direct and uncluttered. Lawyers are generally kept off the floor. Yep, no party is entitled to be represented by a legal practitioner. The only exception? Well, if both opposing parties agree to it and the tribunal explicitly grants permission, this ensures the voices of the actual seafarers and owners are front and center. But make no mistake, even without the suits in the room, this is deeply serious business. Any proceeding here is legally deemed a judicial proceeding under the heavy weight of the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita 2023.
And just to underline exactly how unique this arena is, the standard rulebook used for workers on land is completely thrown overboard. The Industrial Disputes Act of 1947 simply does not apply to any dispute between seafarers and ship owners. Maritime workers operate in a distinct world, with its own specific hazards and rhythms, and so, they get their own dedicated custom-built framework for justice.
Section 4, the verdict and enforcement. Let's get into award implementation. We've set the stage, we've outlined the powers, and we've established the rules. Now for the climax of our procedural. How does the tribunal's decision actually turn into reality? First, the tribunal submits its final award to the central government. The government then publishes it. Exactly 30 days after that publication, boom, the award becomes fully enforceable and legally binding on all parties. And that includes the shipowner's heirs, successors, and assignees. Absolutely no escaping it. Once enforced, this new reality remains locked in operation for a minimum of 1 year. After that year is up, it stays in effect indefinitely.
until one party gives a formal 2-month notice that they intend to terminate it. It is a brilliant system, providing immediate relief, followed by long-term stability.
But every good procedural has a plot twist, right? And here it is, the public interest exception. Before those initial 30 days are up, if the central government looks at the award and decides that enforcing it would actually be harmful to the broader public interest, they have a veto. They can publish an order in the official gazette to either completely reject the award or modify it. If they don't step in, the money owed to a seafarer under that award is swiftly recovered just like standard wages. Fast, efficient, and heavily prioritizing the worker. I absolutely love the efficiency of this next detail. The tribunal is essentially like a specialized task force assembled for a single mission. Unless the central government specifically directs otherwise, the tribunal simply ceases to exist on the expiry of 30 days after the award is published. They come in, they uncover the truth, they deliver justice, and they dissolve.
Section 5. The Standstill Agreement. What happens during the proceedings?
And this brilliantly illustrates the tension of it all. Let's flash back slightly. While the tribunal is doing all of this incredible work, what is happening back on the ship? It's the ultimate legal Mexican standoff. During the pendency of the proceedings, the law forces a rigid ceasefire. On one side, the seafarers and their unions are legally barred from going on strike or doing anything that prejudices the normal operation of the vessel. They literally have to keep the ship moving. But on the flip side, the ship owners are equally handcuffed. They cannot alter the seafarers' conditions of service to their prejudice, and they absolutely cannot discharge or punish any seafarer for anything connected to the dispute. It is a perfectly balanced freeze frame that protects the vessel's operations while completely shielding the workers from retaliation.
So we've seen how the master is protected just like the crew. We've seen a specialized tribunal armed with the powers of a civil court, but completely unbound by its sluggish red tape. And we've seen a guaranteed ceasefire that protects both the ship's cargo and the seafarer's livelihood. The maritime framework isn't just about resolving a fight, it's about leveling a massive playing field. So I leave you with this final thought to ponder. When justice is swift, equal, and guided purely by natural law, how does it permanently change the balance of power on the high seas? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning, keep learning, and I'll catch you in the next one.